Hey guys, what's going on? So about a year ago, I made this video about a Jackpot vintage sci-fi haul that I found from a bookstore that was closing down near me. Well, I hit the jackpot again. Somehow they've been in the process of closing down for like a year and a half now and have only just gotten all of the books onto the shelf. The guy was a huge vintage sci-fi person. I met him, I talked to him. Nice guy, a lot of big alienating opinions. But he was a good guy. So, here we go again. First we got The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. I've been looking for this one for a long time. I finally found it. Condition is questionable, but it doesn't matter because it's going on my TBR. Luckily, I have a lot of room on my TBR right now. Haven't added anything in a while, so a lot of these will be going there. Again, I wish there was a technology to deliver smells, but this morning my wife was leaving for work and she came downstairs near my room and said it smelled like a used bookstore. So I've done it. That's success. I've achieved success in my used bookstore business. And I picked up another one by John Wyndham, Out of the Deeps. Have not heard of it, but I figure while I'm there, I kind of let myself go nuts. They were $1 a piece. I'm probably not going to see a sale like this for a while. And they all have these, oh no, some of them have these plastic covers on them, which clearly have saved them from a lot of dirt because these things are disgusting. But it's time to take them off. And yeah, this one's condition is, again, rough. But I figure if I like John Wyndham, I'll have another piece of his to read. Galaxy Science Fiction says it is in all ways better than The Day of the Triffids. I will be the judge of that. And some more John Wyndham, The Seeds of Change, in these truly vintage Penguin classics. And I know I always say I have to resist when I want to collect something, but I will be keeping these, and I will be collecting every original orange Penguin classic that I see. And I realize now, my last video I read some Penguin orange editions, but they're very new, but obviously an homage to their first design choice. The Time Wanderers by the Strugatsky brothers. I tried my best not to make decisions based on monetary value because I want to maintain that these books have value beyond what they're going to go for on eBay. But, you know, admittedly, I know that these guys are pretty sought after on eBay no matter what the title of the book is. The Earth is besieged by a wave of unexplained phenomenon. First the mass phobias, then the creatures. I'm definitely interested in the mass phobia part of that. City in the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke. Not a particularly valuable book, but I read it, I really liked it, so I'm going to be happy to have it in my own store, a book that I can sell and recommend. That's the ideal world. First printing, I don't know what that means, if it means anything. Here we go. This one, I'm not going to say it's my favorite this early on, but this is what vintage sci-fi is to me. First to the Stars, super generic title. You got a dude on a planet, probably Mars, and there you got the aliens. Actually, probably not Mars because it would be red, probably the moon. Some classic aliens there. Again, I'm going to be taking all these out of their plastic containers. Maybe ASMR or maybe torture, not sure. This one's in pretty good condition too for one of these really old Ace 35-cent books. These are interesting. I'm assuming this is in Polish because Stanislaw Lem is a Polish author. Again, I don't know the monetary value of this. I didn't really check any of the prices for the sci-fi that I bought, but this was too interesting not to buy, even though it's useless on my own TBR. And then I thought this was also by Lem. I assume this was Solaris, which is his famous book that turned into a movie, but it's Polaris 8, which reading the back of this, I think is a bunch of short stories by different sci-fi authors, but I don't know, those are really cool, and I hadn't seen those before. Not a surprise that I haven't seen Polish science fiction here in America, but The Best of Margaret St. Clair. I saw this one and it was in good condition, although sometimes these plastic bags can hide the condition. So let's see for sure. It is in very good condition, and hopefully worth something because I'm not familiar with this author, and a lot of this was for resale. It smells good. That place was moldy. It was a dungeon. I spent many hours there. My respiratory system is still recovering. And I was trying to remember where I had seen this book before, Starmaker by Olaf Stapleton. And then I realized I'm pretty sure Matt at Bookbuild read it. I gotta double check myself on that. But it's a beautiful book. I gotta see if he liked it, what he thought of it. Probably going on my TBR anyways. Bob Shaw, Other Days, Other Eyes. Some of my favorite cover art right there. Let me take this jacket off, give you a better look. There's a lot going on. I read one Bob Shaw book, A Palace in the Sky, the one with the apple on the cover, and it was good, classic, pulpy fun. A slightly higher literary value than pulp, I'll say. I'm not going to say it's elevated pulp like they call Philip K. Dick. There's another one, Medusa's Children. And I also tried to buy multiple books from the same author, so if they don't have particularly high monetary value, I could always sell them as a lot. I'm probably not going to read this one. Waterworld. It's got to be more fantasy than sci-fi. Cosmic Kaleidoscope. Some sci-fi Mad Max or something going on there. But yeah, I mainly went through these books and I picked a lot of them based on author. I picked a lot of them based on cover art. Who's going to go to a book sale and not come away with this one for $1? Colored pages, beautiful cover art, in good condition, and the signature used book smell. Tomorrow Lies in a Bush. No, Tomorrow Lies in Ambush. I really like the cover art on this one as well. I believe this is short stories as well, and I like short story collections, but I would rather read one from multiple authors and not 6 stories from the same guy. So this one might leave me in a lot. I think I'm going to add this one to my TBR based only on the cover art, because that's how we're doing it today. The Downstairs Room by Kate Wilhelm. It's an author I want to read. Again, I think this is short stories. Yeah, 14 dazzling tales. Some Ace science fiction specials. The Ring. I do love these. I do want to collect these, but luckily I can collect them vicariously. Vintage SF, if you haven't checked out his channel, I believe he has all of them. Last I checked, he was missing one, but I bet he has found it by now. I love the design on these. Haven't heard of these books. Obviously I've heard of Piers Anthony, but the one I'd be looking for is The Left Hand of Darkness. There is an Ace science fiction special. The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. Here's an old one. And is this like a movie tie-in edition? Because they have like a real dude there. No scene of Mars. This is rough though. Rough condition. So I don't even know if it's saleable. You know, you risk selling a book like this. One, the cover's probably going to come off in the mail. And two, you want to make sure the person knows what they're getting. It is a first printing. I don't know what that means. I don't even know if this is a sought-after edition, but it was cool, so I bought it, and that was that. Here's some Ace science fiction. I don't always buy these, but this one was in such beautiful condition. Spines uncreased, and of course, you always read the names on the back of these, and they're really packed with the greats. I thought it was weird at the top here. 4-star rating. Like, you wouldn't hear that today. It's either perfection or you're not advertising it. And of course, some Ace doubles. Alice's World. I love these. I collect them, and I'm planning on continuing that. And No Time for Heroes. I will read one of these at one point. Of course, both of them. The Wagered World. Oh, you know, I think I have this one already. I'm recognizing the art here on Tonight We Steal the Stars. Oh well, maybe it's in better condition than the one I have. Probably is. Oh, one more. King of the Fourth Planet. The God King, the Man Wolf, and the Eye Machine. Okay. And Cosmic Checkmate. I wonder if it's chess themed. A checkerboard planet. Be interesting. Like Chess World. Sounds like a Star Trek episode where they get to Chess World to battle some super brain alien. Maybe that's what it is. The Magician of Mars. It's just classic here. You're not going to go through a stack of paperbacks and not come away with science fiction as classic as this one. Haven't heard of the publisher, haven't heard of the author, haven't heard of the book. Whew, very vinegary. Is that a good sign? Is that a bad sign? I don't know. When I first saw this book, I thought it was You, the dystopian classic that I haven't read, that I didn't read for my dystopian sci-fi video. Turns out it is not at all. But it's one of these Panther science fiction books that I've seen on other people's book hauls, but never in real life. Couldn't resist the green. Behold the Man by Michael Moorcock. There was a bunch of Michael Moorcock there, but all like book 2 from some fantasy series, book 3 and 4 from a different fantasy series. I don't know if this is more science fiction. I want to read something by this guy. Also might be religious based. I'm not sure. I only briefly read the back and the front, but going on my TBR for sure until a better Michael Moorcock replaces it. Here's some interesting ones. The Fully Automated Love Life of Henry Keenridge. Playboy science fiction. You see these, I haven't seen them before. They've got a lot up nicely. Actually, I just barely got these books. I arrived to the used bookstore probably like 10 minutes before they opened up, and I was like the 25th person in line or something. And there was someone near the front of the line. He went straight for the science fiction, and he just loaded up. And I was on the periphery of the science fiction section. There was a couple science fiction sections. But he was definitely going to town. He was stacking them high, and then he would bring his stacks behind the counter, and they would hold them for him until he was done with everything. And then he was finally done, and I was near the cash register, and he starts haggling for the price, saying that he has so many books and he's not ready for this price yet. The worker was like, well, it's the first hour of the sale, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lower the price the first hour of the sale. So the guy walks, he leaves, and then the worker's like, now I gotta restock all these. And I was like, I can help you with that. And I did, and he definitely cherry-picked a lot of stuff. It seemed like for resale. There was those Playboy books. There was a lot of this science fiction was in his stack, and a lot of these film noir books, like these old mystery books, which I will show you in another haul, but luck was on my side. The Infinite Man. I think I misread this book to be The Female Man by Joanna Russ, which I've been looking for. Again, I was just throwing stuff in my bags. I wasn't too concerned with what it was. $1 a book, you know, makes it go a little bit crazy. Here's these laser books. I like these. At one point I was collecting them. I just like the design, and of course they have numbers on the spines, which makes it infinitely collectible. And I guess they have 2 different editions of these. This one seems like a Flowers for Algernon type thing. Not the most flattering picture of that man there. That's the one I already showed you. The Ecolog. I will have to resist my urge to collect and probably sell these as a set. Luckily, there is 3 of each of them, and as I've said, 3 is the number of a set. For some reason in my head, it's either 3, 5, or 10. But I can also see the argument for any number being a set, really, and I'm just being neurotic. But I do wonder, for everyone, what is your ideal number for a set of books? 4, 5, 10, 2? For me, 3, 5, or 10. The World Swappers by John Brunner. Beautiful book. Another author I have not read anything of, and this will probably go on my TBR. Beautiful condition. It's going to be hard to focus on that tiny spine. I know, camera. But you can do it. You can't do it. Okay, that's fine. But trust me, the spine is smooth. The Many Worlds of Barry Malzberg. Yet another author I have not read anything of. I think I have a book of his on my TBR right now, but I think I learned recently that it was not his best. This is obviously going to be short fiction, and like I said, I don't like reading. Oh, signed. Is that Barry Malzberg's signature? From 2003? It could have been anyone scribbling in there, but that's a surprise. Or maybe it's Roger Elwood, I don't know. Well, I'll have to look into that one. 50 Short Science Fiction Tales. I sold this before, which is why I picked it up. Although, did I sell it, or is it still? No, it's still in my inventory. So I did not sell it, but now I have 2 copies of it. So there's that. Gotta check these for signatures now, I guess. Robots Have No Tails by Henry Kuttner. For whatever reason, the name Henry Kuttner was in my head as someone I should look into, and I believe this is a full-length novel. Get it out of its jail cell here. It's musty vinegar jail cell. Can you like add vinegar to these things? 1952, apparently about a genius scientist who can only work when he's drunk. So that would be interesting. I'll put that one on my TBR. Here's one of these Dungeons and Dragons Choose Your Own Adventure book. This was definitely in the stack of the guy who was haggling with the price. Perfect resale fodder. I actually sold a lot of these recently. This is in perfect condition. And I think I sold a lot of 4. So unfortunately this would have made the 5th, the unifying 5th. Oh, it does have some damage on the back there. Interplanetary Spy. Never seen anything like this. I think it's a choose your own adventure book, but here on the back it says, to begin your mission, memorize your Interplanetary Spy ISBN number. So you have to use the IS. First of all, who's going to memorize an ISBN number? And second of all, how does that come into play? Okay, you're supposed to put the ISBN number in that field down there. This is cool. It's a sci-fi choose-your-own-adventure book. I don't know how the ISBN number comes into play, but this is elaborate. It's neat. Oh, look, you had to bend the page in order to achieve one of the trials here. Tragic. And they did a good job. Look at that perfect bend to fit the cooling tubing or whatever that is. That's a neat one. Critical Mass by Frederick Pohl and C.M. Kornbluth. This was one I picked up. Kornbluth is one of the names that I know is sought after and will probably sell for something because, of course, I did have my eBay used bookstore in mind when I was throwing books into my bag. Same with these. These best of books always sell pretty well and are easily lotted up. I've sold this one before, Lester Del Rey, and I also have the best of Fritz Lieber, which looks like pretty spooky. The cover of Something Wicked This Way Comes. They had a whole bunch of Fritz Lieber there. It was insane. And honestly, I could have probably bought the whole thing and made money off of it. They were offering some kind of discount if you bought 1,000 books. I only got to 150, but I easily could have come away with 1,000 books and lotted them up and sold them. And, you know, if I'm thinking only financially, then I would have done it. But, you know, you feel kind of like a Scrooge going in there and just scooping up all of the vintage sci-fi just to come and store it in your house. Another choose your own adventure. This is some like retro computer style thing that I always find pretty funny. And you think it would be pretty collectible. This is number 10 of the series. Includes 7 exciting programs for your computer. How could this include programs for your computer? The programs will run in BASIC on the IBM PC, Apple II, Commodore 64, and the Radio Shack color computer, so don't worry. Oh wow. I guess all it took was this string of code that you plugged into whatever machine you had, and it ran a program. Play a strategy game against a deadly cheat. Intercept the enemy's secret transmission. That is cool. And beautiful condition too. It looks highly collectible. Gotta be highly collectible. Theodore Sturgeon, Some of Your Blood. This is an author I've been wanting to read more of, although I've read barely anything by him, just one short story. What was it called? A Saucer of Loneliness, which was awesome. Hopefully this is a pretty good one. That's going on my TBR. You know what I hate? I hate when used bookstores stamp the books that go through them. Why? You don't have ownership over this anymore. There's some kind of inventory management tool. King Kong. Frazetta inspired cover art here. Seemed cool, seemed collectible, so I bought it. Simple as that. The Norby Chronicles. I believe this is Isaac Asimov's young reader thing, and I remember it being valuable last time I looked it up, but I also still have the other books in that series in my inventory, so maybe not as valuable as I think, but beautiful condition, uncreased spine, you'll have to take my word for it. The true used book smell. Some of this stuff is too vinegary, some of it is too moldy. The Goldilocks Zone, this book right here. Whew, intoxicating. Mirror Friend, Mirror Foe. Don't know anything about it, but apparently George Takei wrote science fiction, or maybe fantasy. No, he's got a robot companion, so it's got to be science fiction. And it's George Takei and somebody else, so I got to imagine it's George Takei's idea and someone else wrote it. Perhaps not, but seemed eclectic, seemed cool. Classically science fiction. Oh, and that is George Takei right there. Gotta be. A little more grizzled than he generally is, but inspired by the man himself. This book I did look up. It is worth some money. You always got to check these. I don't know if this was a show or a video game, but the book tie-ins are generally collectible, kind of like a Warhammer type thing. This is Battletech, which is a mech warrior thing, I imagine. Oh, it is like maybe a board game, maybe like a Warhammer variant with the mechanized suits like that. Oh, they called them mech warriors. Maybe it is all mech warrior. I played that game a long time ago. Science Fiction Hall of Fame. You've all seen this one. I think I have one of the iterations behind me in my inventory so I can lot them up. But I'm seeing here on the back, signed by Ben Bova. Could it be? This has been sealed for a very long time. A dirty piece of tape. Oof. I mean, you look at that and yes, this sleeve has protected it from a lot of dirt, but you do wonder if it kind of consolidates the must and it just like bathes in that must for a long time. Yeah, too vinegary. Ben Bova. There he is. Ben Bova to Chris. I don't know what that means for the value of this, but yeah, it's in beautiful condition. A lot of times you see these and they're in rough condition. Probably like the one I have back here. Yeah. That's rough. But this one's looking minty. And I have another one. I wonder if this is also signed by Ben Bova. If Chris took them all to the convention. It's taped in a very similar way. It's got a similar amount of just straight brown dust on it. And there it is. Chris had Double B sign them both. That's exciting. I didn't even realize that these were signed. And yeah, this is mint condition. Beautiful stuff. All right, A Stir of Echoes. Oh, this was by Richard Matheson. And I didn't know he wrote other stuff besides science fiction. I read The Shrinking Man and have kind of been interested in him ever since. I don't know. Oh, God. This is just deteriorating as I opened it. But I don't know if it's romance or mystery or something, but I would definitely read more by this guy. It's a crafty, creepy, fast-moving yarn, according to Playboy. And yeah, it's just like kind of raining page shards down on me. Yeah, maybe a little critter came in here. First printing 1959. That'll go on my TBR. Ugh, nasty. Carnival of Fear. Ravenloft is a Dungeons & Dragons variant. I sold some stuff of this a while ago, so, you know, I figured probably has some amount of value. Good condition, Warhammer adjacent, good indicators. And I just saw the stack of these, and, you know, $1 each. You can be surprised at what you'd buy for $1 without discretion, without prejudice. These are all clan novels, definitely vampire stuff from that World of Darkness publisher. Hopefully they sell for something. If they don't, whatever. 900 Grandmothers by R.A. Lafferty. This is another name that I recognize, like the Strugatsky brothers, like Kornbluth, like Le Guin, like Philip K. Dick. You just see them and you buy them, they're going to be worth it. This is an omnibus. Maybe if the stories aren't too short, I'll read a few of them. I read a short story of his a while ago. It was bizarre. It was a little hard to follow, but I'll give him another chance. Gunner Cade by C.M. Kornbluth and Judith Merrill. This was another name, Kornbluth, popular one. Some of his stuff can be hard to find. Is this one of them? I don't know, but I will be finding out. That's a good balance. Here's another one that I've been looking for a while. Kind of spoiled it earlier, but We, classic Russian, I believe, dystopian novel. Been trying to find this in a used bookstore for probably 5 years. Finally did it, and in a pretty good condition. That'll go on my TBR for sure. Times Without Number by John Brunner. This looks more fantasy than science fiction. I think I read the back of this one, and there's a lot of science fiction novels that kind of limp into the category by making it time travel. And you go back to some fantastical period in time and you're a science fiction novel. I think that's what he does here. Yeah, he goes back to a bunch of different pivotal points in history and changes them and then sees how it turns out. Yes, that's science fiction. Okay, I'll give it to you. John Brunner is an author I want to read. Is that one worth it? We'll see. Here are these two, Professor Jameson's Space Adventures. I knew I had a couple of these. This is number 3 and 4. I was hoping that these completed the set. But of course, I get back and these are the ones I already had. So the hunt for number 1 and 2 continues. I probably got these from the first sale and I came back and got them again. So it goes. This is not science fiction. I did look up the price of this one. Hopefully gonna pay for the rest of the books. Gonna pay for the whole haul. Not sure exactly what it is. It's a piece of nonfiction about a family. We're gonna see here, big reveal opening this one up if it's in good condition. Because I saw copies going for like $100 plus on eBay. Yeah, looking good. Some weird staining on the spine. But feels very much unread. And I believe first edition. So that is exciting. Because it is a concern that you need to offset the cost of all of these books somehow. This is also not science fiction, but I hear vintage horror is also pretty valuable. So I'm dipping my toes into that. Not much there. I think there was a guy specifically looking for horror. It was kind of chaotic there. They didn't organize it really. There was a science fiction section from previous, so there was consolidations, but stuff was spread out everywhere. So you really had to check every shelf to see if there was science fiction or something that you were looking for. I was there for 4 hours. Luckily, I went by myself because my wife would have been bored. She's gotten into the books. She will help me search for them. She knows certain names like Philip K. Dick or H.P. Lovecraft. She's a good sport about it. But 4 hours, I would not expect her to endure that. This is another piece of vintage horror. The Shapes of Midnight. Oh, introduction by Stephen King. Maybe that means something. Beautiful vintage paperback. Ooh, strange smell. Pungent. Oh, and it's signed by the guy. Wow, surprise signature here. It's not too surprising that so many of these books were signed. The guy was a collector. And the guy was a corrupted collector. Like, he got too many books where even his store was hard to look through. And the prices he put on his books, obviously he didn't want to sell them. He just wanted to collect and he wanted to amass. So it was a good example of the dark side of book collecting, where you've gone too far and you need to take a few steps back. I mean, it's also kind of awe-inspiring to look at the amount of books that he had, but then you reach that bottom shelf in that corner where the books are mushy and it's just mold, and you're like, okay, yeah. Maybe I need to pace myself, and certainly after this haul, I'm gonna need to slow my roll. And I will do my best. Here's some more of those World of Darkness books, Predator and Prey. What I imagine to be a full set. You get a full set of anything, there's probably someone out there who wants to buy it, right? They're in good condition. And there was this card in here. He was trying to sell them for $60. So that tells me that they're probably worth like $30 or something. But you never know. He probably priced these out like 15 years ago. Robert Silverberg, Hawksbill Station. I do have a few on my TBR right now by Silverberg, but none of them are really appealing to me. They had fought a life-crushing 21st century dictatorship, and now they were witness to the dawn of life itself. And then one day the stranger came. Good enough for me. That's going on my TBR. The Masks of Time. This is probably going on my TBR as well. Actually, I have Dying Inside. That was the one I was going to read next. So these might have to change. What's your opinion on people doing this? You put your initials on the spine. All right, last one I got here is The World Inside by Robert Silverberg. I read this one, this exact copy, not this exact copy, but this specific edition. Awesome book. If you haven't read it, I'm going to put this on my eBay store. I'm going to make it cheap. Hopefully someone watching this video can scoop it up. Highly recommend this. I love when I can sell a book that I've read, that I loved, and that has a good message too. And that's what I got for you. Truly jackpot haul, I think. I do have some more books that will probably find their way into other hauls. As always, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.